In Africa, when an old man or an old woman dies, a library burns. And this is a really interesting way of capturing the fact that age, okay? Age is about wisdom collected, it's about solutions tested, and it's about knowledge that's ready to be shared. I'm here to talk to you today about Africa and a very important segment of our population. The future of Africa is not buried in rare minerals, nor is it buried or hidden, in the oil fields. It's not even just inherent in our vaunted youth dividend. I'm here to talk to you about a neglected and relatively undertapped resource in Africa, what I call our gray gold. Gray gold, the over 50s, the veterans, the problem solvers, the gangsters who are out there kicking ass, our silver generation. I want to tell you a couple of stories. First, I have a mentee in Zambia, and she's about 20 something years old. I'm not going to tell you whether it's high 20s or low 20s. Okay, it's low 20s. And, we usually get on a virtual call and we'll speak. So we got on a call and she saw me and she said, "Wow, Chidi, you have aged." It's very easy to take offense to that. But you know what she was doing? She was actually fascinated by the fact that there's more that's happened in my life, right? And she was acknowledging that, and it was a beautiful thing. And of course, she was there to ask me for counsel, and I gave it to her. Another story is one of my former MBA students, one of my former ALUSB MBA students. She's also a businesswoman in Lagos. Do you know how she greets me every time we get together? This is what she says to me. "Good day, ancestor." A whole Chidi Aflisi. A whole me, you're calling me ancestor, right? But no, she actually means that as a term of endearment, a term of respect. It is the way, she's a Yoruba woman, that's how they love their elders. As long as I could respond, "I am well, descendant." And she said, "Okay, deal, we'll do that." Gray gold are out there. Gray gold are out there doing a lot of incredible things. In my work as a product advisor, a product coach, product consultant, entrepreneurship advisor, we talk about product market fit. And product market fit is when a product, a solution has found its place within the market, creating value. Well, we need a fit. We need to find that fit between Africa's youth, their energy, their tech savvy, and their fresh eyes, and our gray gold's wisdom and collective wisdom. They know what works, what fails, and why. You see these grays? These grays have the Africa's operating manual embedded in them, and we need to acknowledge that. So as I talked about my work as a product person in building products and teams, it is very clear that when we are working with over 50s, they understand which problems need to be solved and how they should be solved to be successful. And so the gray gold have that experience. They bring it into our world. Let me give you one example. Funke Okeke is a Nigerian entrepreneur. She started her company, May 1, in her 40s, but it's really in her 50s and 60s that she started really clicking, laying cable, connecting the rest of the world to Africa. And she is one of the most renowned entrepreneurs in Africa. Another one is Rebecca Enonchong, in her 50s. And she is actively building Africa's entrepreneurial ecosystem, mentoring tech leaders, entrepreneurs who are building Africa's tech ecosystem as we speak right now. Gray gold are out there creating solutions that Africa truly needs. We're building institutions, but we're also building people. And this is actually about multiplication. We heard that before. This is not an additive equation. This is a multiplicative equation. Now, I want to acknowledge and celebrate Africa's vaunted, beautiful, youth dividend, our demographic, this popular demographic dividend that talks about our Africa being the youngest population in the world. It is something we need to own and celebrate. Yes, there's a however. What is that however? In 2050, one out of 4 people in Africa will be over 50. 1 out of 5 will be over 60. And that is to our advantage, and we need to exploit that advantage. The global silver economy, the silver economy is the economy that addresses the over 50s, their spending, the problems that they need solved, is a $15 trillion opportunity. If we don't take care of our gray gold, we lose out on billions of dollars in terms of our economies. The power of demographic diversity is where our young plus the experience, it's an unstoppable Africa. Or as one of our speakers said, an unstoppable 54 countries in the continent. There's a proverb that I want to make sure you leave here with. It says that the young can walk faster, but the elders know the road ahead. Right? And this captures a very fundamental truth, which is knowing the road, understanding our context, matters more than speed. Our gray gold, we know the road. And combined with your speed, watch out now. Right? Kofi Annan has this, our dear departed UN Secretary General from Ghana. He has this thing where he says that a society that cuts off from his youth is severing his lifeline. But a society that cuts off from his elders is losing its memory and its soul. It is important for us to understand that cultural context makes or breaks solutions, makes or breaks innovation. And that cultural context is something that is embedded in our elders, in our over 50s. We want to make sure that we understand that progress needs both the energy to move, but also the wisdom to move well. Where's my... Okay. You guys have watched Black Panther, eh? You guys remember T'Challa? Remember when he would drink the thing? Don't drink that thing, no. But he will drink it. Where would he go? He doesn't even go to his elders that are around him. He goes back to the dead ancestors. That is demonstrated. This is something that's critical and inherent to Africa. And we must make sure we take care of that. Now, let me acknowledge something also. Many of the young people in Africa would say that the over 50s, the elders are responsible for all the wahala that's going on in Africa. Political instability, economic challenges, the social injustice. I get it. Understood. But that's a different TED Talk. Because this is a leadership thing and is also maybe a power thing. And I've seen power and leadership also infect the young too. Right? And then here's the thing. Just because it's not your fault doesn't mean it's not your responsibility. Okay? The responsibility belongs to all of us. And the success that we are going to find, right, comes from multi-generational teams that are working together as opposed to against each other or even in ignorance of each other. This is not addition. This is force multiplication. Okay? Here's another thing. I actually was reminded of this by a young person. You do understand that we have gray gold that is being mined effectively and just at the highest levels in the diaspora. Right? They're building their walls with it. In fact, I say they're mining the gray gold and wearing the jewelry. And they're not sending it back. Many of our silvers in the diaspora are doing remarkable work. And in fact, it's interesting because when you look at what they're doing, the Western world doesn't want that stuff coming back here. Think about an African doctor, 30 years of experience. Who's benefiting from that? Living in London. Think about an African professor who is teaching in Atlanta. Who's benefiting from that knowledge? It is critical that when we think about our gray gold, it's not just continental, it's also our diaspora gray gold. So let's talk about the future. How might we mine and tap into our gray gold? That is a very critical question, right? I want you to count with me, especially with all the young people in this room and the young people watching. How many accelerators, innovation hubs, fellowships, whatever else, have been created for young people? Just think about it. In fact, all of you are applying for them, right? Right now, some of you are saying, this Chidi guy is talking nonsense. Let me apply for that fellowship that somebody sent me yesterday. And most of these fellowships are for under 25s. Sure, you're over 25, you can't even apply, right? Now, count in one hand how many fellowships you've seen for people who are over 50. We're out here teaching our youth how to avoid mistakes. Meanwhile, we are not learning from the folks who have lived them. We're not tapping into that, okay? I am suggesting that for every 3 or 4 fellowships we create for young people, we create one for what we call the seniors. We want to learn now. We're ready to contribute. We need balance. We need to harvest experience while seeding potential. And when we do that, we get multi-generational transformation. We don't do this alone. So I'm going to close with something. I want you all, just close your eyes. Oh yeah, close your eyes, everybody. And I can see every single one of your eyes. Easy, everybody close your eyes. Now, I want you to think of all the grays in your life. The grays that you work with. Think about the grays that you know in your family and love. The grays in the institutions, the grays that you admire. Just think about them. See the numbers. Now, I want you to create an Instagram feed of those grays. Scroll through that Instagram feed. I bet you're smiling right now. That is the power of the grace. Open your eyes, because I want you to see me. You see these grays? See these grays? See these grays on me right now. These grays are stored energy and stored power. And these grays and their energy and power are inevitable for Africa. They're being unleashed on Africa. And I'm doing it with many of the young people in this room. Imagine multiplying that by 25, 30 million, 100 million. Imagine what happens. Come on now. We're talking about combustion, the kind of combustion that will take Africa to the next level. We all have a role in doing this, so, okay? Don't just be like, okay, Chidi, do what you need to do, then I'll come by and join your company. No, we're doing this together. Wouldn't it be interesting? We talk about mental health issues with our young people. Wouldn't it be interesting if we actually could find a solution to this stuff based off of community-based mental health care that our elders have and know? What if, and my TEDx people will understand the joke, what if we had our next unicorn that was founded by a 55-year-old and a 25-year-old? I wonder what will happen, how the world will react if we were to put this combination together and start implementing, start kicking, start making things work. It is time for us to gear up. Gear up. Put your gear on. Roll your sleeves. Let's lock arms. And let's do this work. I'll see you at work. Thank you very much.